Hi, my name is Chrissy Gaines, and I'm going to go over how to teach a patient how to take their radial pulse correctly. In this video, I'm going to go over the patient education process, and then I'm also going to state two learning objectives that I want my patient to meet. So briefly, just to go over the patient education process, there's four phases. The very first phase is the assessment phase, and in this phase, I'm just going to be assessing the patient's health literacy and their capability to learn. The next phase in the process is the planning phase, and in this phase, I'm just going to collaborate with my patient, and we're going to determine what patient objectives we want to meet, and they should be patient specific every time. The third phase is the implementation phase, and this is the actual education process. So in the assessment phase, I determined their capability to learn, and in this phase, I will implement that by teaching them how to take their radial pulse in this instance. And I want to include learning activities. I determined that my patient is a visual learner, so I will teach her by demonstration. But depending on what type of learner they are, you could also include charts or presentations or audio lectures, anything that could help the patient learn. The fourth stage is the evaluation phase. And in this phase, I'm just going to measure the outcomes to see if the objectives were effective and if my patient was able to correctly take a radial pulse. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. My first learning objective is for the patient to locate the landmarks needed to take a radial pulse. And then my second learning objective is going to be the patient will correctly demonstrate how to take a radial pulse for 1 full minute. Okay. So this is my patient. Hi, my name is Chrissy Gaines, and I'm going to be your nurse today. I'm going to be your nurse today. The patient or the doctor has prescribed you to take a beta blocker once you get home. So the importance of you knowing how to take your radial pulse comes to play because this medication can affect your heart rate, and the doctor's going to want you to take a radial pulse every time before you take the medication at home. Okay. So the first objective I want you to be able to meet is to locate the landmarks needed to take a radial pulse. And to do that, you're going to flip your hand over to the supine position. You're going to palpate on the thumb side because that's where your radial pulse will be located at. And then you don't want to palpate too hard because you could occlude the pulse, and then you want to be able to find it. But it's right here in the groove, right before the bend of your wrist. Are you able to locate it?
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Are you able to feel the pulse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got the pulse. So the next objective I would like you to meet is to count the radial pulse for 1 full minute. So now that you've got your pulse, I'm going to set the clock for 1 minute, 60 seconds, and you're going to determine what your radial pulse is, okay? I'll let you know whenever the time starts. Okay, you can go ahead and start counting. Okay, that's 60 seconds. What number did you get?
68.
You got 68 beats per minute. So the normal range is anywhere from 60 to 100, so that would be a really great pulse. I'm just going to verify that you did that correctly by counting it myself for 1 full minute, and then I'm also going to palpate the landmark that you just did to make sure that you are palpating the radial pulse.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to turn your hand back over. Now I've determined that I can feel your radial pulse, so I'm going to start counting for 1 full minute. the minute's up, and I counted your radial pulse as being 70 beats per minute. It's very much okay that ours was just off by a couple beats per minute. So you were effective in teaching or in learning how to take your own radial pulse, and then you met both objectives by stating or locating where the landmark is to take your radial pulse, and then also counting it for a full 60 seconds. So thank you very much.
Thank you.